Hello and welcome to the CSN 3M podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Wade, with Case Specific Nutrition. On this channel, we focus on all things mentoring, mindsets, and myth busting as they pertain to health and nutrition. Today's topic falls into the category of mindset. I think it's fitting as we dive into the week that is New Year's that we discuss the concept, idea, and execution of New Year's resolutions. I don't know about all of you, but we just finished the holidays at our household. And after a month of December, I'm a December birthday. I find that I usually don't feel myself. A little bit bloated. Diet's not quite what it normally is. Exercise routine is a little different from what it is throughout the rest of the year. And as a person, not just as a professional, I can see why many people would, sort of face this new year, face this January time, and be excited to focus on weight loss based New Year's resolutions. That said, I wanted to make sure we discussed that as an idea and as a concept and navigated some warnings, as well as set you up to have a better mindset going into the new year to better adopt and resume positive habits for yourself. So something to consider is in the New Year's resolution world, it is very heavily marketed, and rightfully so, and you could see why it would be that way. The month of December for most of us is a time of celebration, indulgence, and unique foods, and abundance of alcohol, a little extra time off work, a little more time with family, all sorts of reasons to celebrate, and again, feel a little bit different than you normally do. What that ends up leading to is our body changes, right? We drink alcohol more often, which means we retain a little bit more fluid and we feel bloated. We eat foods we're not used to eating, which impacts our digestion and our energy levels a little bit. And if you're a typical American, you come into the end of this month of December feeling pretty bloated and feeling not yourself. And then you see some sort of advertisement that's claiming 7-day detox or 21-day fix or, some short-term, short-sighted focus that's going to somehow miraculously get you back to normal. Something to keep in mind is that you are already normal. There's nothing abnormal about indulging. When we work with our clients here at Case Specific Nutrition, one of the things we like to talk to people about is the calendar of health, and the idea that health is not in itself this yes or no thing. And we've talked in previous podcasts about avoiding that pass-fail mindset. In reality, health is a result of accumulation of choices. So over the course of a 12-month, 365-day year, this upcoming year will be 366 days, but as over the span of that time, health is a result of doing things that feel good for your body, your mind, and your spirit consistently. And the holiday season is not exempt from that. While yes, it is a time where we tend to indulge more on food and drink, it is also a time when we tend to work less, and it is a time when we tend to spend more time with family, which would cater to a completely different side of health. So to criticize and critique the holidays, or even worse, to dread them and make yourself feel miserable about them, is a huge disservice to a unique time of year that, from a health perspective, if we zoom out from our day-to-day health and look at our yearly health, most of us can see that over the course of the year, there's going to be months that have more attention to things like physical activity and attention to higher quality, minimally processed foods and better availability and accessibility to vegetables. And the month of December is not necessarily the month that stands out as the one that would be, the highest availability in those regions. That in itself doesn't mean that it was a bad month. It doesn't mean that it's an unhealthy month. It's just different from other months, and that's okay. But more importantly, as we dig into January, this temptation to basically try and make up for or fix or get back on the wagon, there's a lot of key phrases that people use when they set their New Year's resolutions. There's sort of a pressure to do that, and that pressure is in many ways very unnecessary. At Case Specific, we talk a lot about the pause play mindset, right? Play being when you're in your routine, when you're eating foods that are a part of your normal grocery rhythm and foods that you digest well and give you good energy and make you feel really good and support your habits and your day-to-day life with your family and aren't an emotional drain or distraction from you, but are also a physical benefit to you. That routine, when that's in play mode, most of us feel our best. And from time to time, we pause that so that we can enjoy our surroundings, which is a very valuable thing. What the New Year's resolution crowd tends to do is not press play. There's a tendency to try and press fast forward. And I warn most people about the idea of pressing fast forward, because in many ways, fast forward can be very, very dangerous for the psyche. It can trigger and lead to a lot of dichotomous thinking, which is something we've dug into in previous podcasts. And the New Year's resolution is very well known for that. Most people don't know this, but the average New Year's resolution lasts somewhere between 2 and 3 weeks. And so I'm gonna say that again just to let it sink in, between 2 and 3 weeks. And so, you're bloated after a fun alcohol-infused weekend or Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or whatever event or work party that was, present. And you say, oh man, I'm going to give up alcohol for New Year's, or I'm going to stop drinking in 2020, or I'm going to stop doing this, or I'm going to do this extreme diet program, or I'm going to start the Whole30 or the 21-day fix. And the problem with all of those things is none of them actually capture the sustainable long-term mindset that's going to benefit you. All they are is an overcompensation as a result of some feeling of unnecessary guilt. And that doesn't mean I don't think people can utilize January 1st as a beneficial mindset or recalibration or refocus. It's just to say that I do not think a New Year's resolution is designed to be a starting point to see how long you can hold your breath. And that is really because I don't believe that is how proper habits are formed. Healthy habits are not a result of seeing how hard you can push yourself, or seeing how many minutes of exercise you can log in a week, or seeing how many thousands of calories you can burn at the gym, or seeing how little you can eat in a 24-hour span. Healthy habits are about having a good relationship with food and activity and self and mind. And I think January, just like any other month, is a great time to do those things. But unfortunately, we get pressured to participate in things that sort of distract us from that. I often relate my goal with my clients to a snowball at the top of a mountain. And the goal is to roll the snowball off the hill so that it can slowly but surely pick up speed and become an avalanche. And while that's not going to help the person who's looking to lose 30 pounds in 10 days, it is going to help the person that's looking to have a better understanding of themselves mentally, physically, and emotionally. And it's going to lead to a more sustainable and long-term vision of health, so that next New Year's and next holiday season, you're not doing the same thing over and over and over again. So this January, instead of setting yourself up to start following some rigid rule-inflicted, hyper-focused, excessive routine, why not start by choosing to try and do one thing well? Pick one habit or one behavior, not something that you feel obligated to do, not something that you feel like you have to do, but instead something that you know you would enjoy doing, that you would benefit from doing, that would feel good or be useful to your life. So pick that one habit, write it down, and then set a goal with that habit. If it's some sort of physical activity, I often encourage people to start by scheduling it as a daily personal meeting. It doesn't have to be a specific exercise. It doesn't have to be a gym routine. It doesn't have to be with a trainer. It could be a variety of activities. I personally reserve time each day to exercise as a way to manage my mental, physical, and emotional health, to be honest. And I consider that a non-negotiable meeting. So I schedule it in my day. It's allowed to happen at different times of the day, and it's allowed to include different things. Some days it might be a hike with my dog. Some days it might be a run. Some days it might be lifting weights. Some days it might be some sort of boxing or other, a metabolic class of some kind. activity, moving your body. Many people enjoy yoga and other disciplines like that. Activity and moving your body is fantastic no matter what the outlet. The most important thing is to do it consistently, to have it be a part of who you are, to have it be a part of your day and a part of your energy levels. So that's where we start. We don't have to start with some overzealous routine or some ridiculous cleanse. Instead, we can start with just one habit. We can start with one positive thing that we resolve to do and then do it very consistently. I have a client and good friend of mine who works out at our Plum facility, and he is somebody who did this very well last year. He decided he was going to commit to exercise, and he has yet to unravel or unresolve that challenge. He has remained resolute in his resolution, and he knows who he is if he's listening, and that's something that he's extremely proud of. But more importantly, just like I talked about with the snowball, it's led to an avalanche. It's led to tobacco cessation. It's led to him paying better attention to his food and incorporating more vegetables and more home-cooked meals so that he can eat things that actually allow him to feel full and satisfied. It's allowed him to pursue positive relationships in his social circle. It's allowed him to pursue more invigorating challenges in his professional circle. That snowball, that simple resolution to move his body in an intentional way, to take back some time for himself, has led to an avalanche of positivity that's completely changed and transformed his life. And if we're going to strive to do anything on New Year's, it's to start something. It's not to pick up and overwhelm ourselves, which is why most people only last 2 to 3 weeks. It's not a light switch. We are not designed as humans to adopt and accept massive change. That's not something we're good at. And more importantly, that's also not necessary, nor is it beneficial. To suddenly just decide you're going to flip a light switch and be someone completely different is going to disrupt many, many aspects of your life. You're going to see reverberations in your personal, professional, social, and emotional fields, to say the least. And that is not the goal here. If we're trying to pursue positive, we should be trying to pursue progressive. We should be allowing ourselves to change in a steady way. And more importantly, change as a result of desire, as a result of excitement, as a result of positive vision, not obligation. Part of the reasons that these weight loss challenges miss is for that exact same reason. They assign some ridiculously rigid diet that's not meant to be a way you actually eat. So it's not your diet, it's just a diet, right? Follow this templated, hyper-focused, eat only these things, which none of us ever delusionally believe we're going to eat the rest of our lives. And then let's commit to seeing how much we can over-exercise, which forces us to take something as beautiful and wonderful as exercise, which is meant to be a positive personal outlet for stress and emotional well-being. I know as someone who suffers with hyperactivity disorder and panic disorder, exercise is my calming agent. It's the thing that allows me to remain stable. Exercise has so much value for us. And in these weight loss challenges, instead it becomes this obligation that has you walking around your dining room table to get steps at the end of the day, or attending 3 classes in a row on a Saturday just to say you did it. And while that might be impressive in the moment, that's not doing anything really substantial for your long-term health goal. It feels significant in the short term because you're beating your body up and dehydrating yourself. But in the long term, that's not doing you any favors. That's not helping you fall in love with exercise. If anything, it's going to make you resent it. That's not helping you outlet your emotions. If anything, it's going to set you up not to move for 3 or 4 days and then get out of the routine. And then 2 months later, you find yourself saying, I have to get back on the wagon or get back into it, or I have to go back to the gym, as opposed to it becoming something that you use as a positive form of self-expression. And the same thing with food. A rigid meal plan is not going to lead to you suddenly falling in love with food. If you went from eating cookies and macaroni and cheese to eating baked tilapia with pepper and broccoli by itself, you're never going to live in a world where, quote unquote, eating healthy is for you. And that's because that's not eating healthy. That's restricting your body. Eating healthy is meant to incorporate all foods. But yes, it should have good quality proteins like fish. Yes, it should have great green vegetables amongst other vegetables as a central focus of the diet. It does not need to only contain those 2 things, and your worth does not have to be defined by whether or not you're able to abstain to those 2 things alone. And so this New Year's, whether you decide to focus on moving your body in a positive way, or whether you decide to focus on ramping up and including more vegetables in your meals every day at lunch and dinner, for example, those are two really good positive resolutions that allow and symbolize actual health. They lead to you digesting better. They lead to tangible feelings of energy improvement. They lead to you attaching to real-time benefit as opposed to feeling trapped or required or obligated to abide by. And so instead of lasting a 3-week resolution or crossing the finish line of your 6-week challenge, all of a sudden you'll find yourself in March moving even better, eating in a more balanced way, and perhaps instead of being so sick of broccoli you could scream, instead you've found a couple creative ways to include vegetables and include them as an entree, so they include more flavor and more sauces, which makes them more enjoyable. So now you're not eating healthy because you have to, you're eating well because you know how to. That is the difference, and that is the snowball that becomes an avalanche. That is what case-specific nutrition does. That's what the dietitians and the wellness team here at Case-Specific Nutrition stand for. And so we're excited to help you. If you're interested, don't hesitate to reach out to us on social media. We are here to help people accumulate positive habits to feel our best, as opposed to forcing seemingly rigid positive habits in an attempt to make dramatic change. I hope this has been an interesting topic, and I hope this has set you up to go into your New Year's with a more resolute resolution and a more positive mindset of self, and a recognition that January 1st does not have to be when positive efforts occur. It can simply be a day that we press play after a very fun, enjoyable time, pressing pause and enjoying some socially relevant things that surround us. I'd like to thank you again for listening. We've gotten quite a few weeks into this podcast, and we've been getting some wonderful shares and likes, and it really means a lot to us. So thank you again. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and share us on your favorite social media. And please don't forget to tag a friend. We're a big fan of what we call spreading the health. Not Oprah, unfortunately. I can't spread the wealth. But as a passionate, fast-talking registered dietitian, I'm always eager to spread the health. And so if you can subscribe, share, tag a friend, and don't forget to hashtag spread the health so that you can do your part the Case-Specific Nutrition way. Don't forget to follow us on social media. We are Case-Specific Nutrition on Facebook and on Instagram. We are also Case-Specific PGH on Twitter. And then you can follow me, Andrew Wade, at Pittsburgh Dietitian on Twitter for my personal posts. And you can always find us on CaseSpecificNutrition.com, where you can check out our services, send us an email, give us a call, schedule an appointment using our online scheduler. We are here to help. We will be back next Monday for our next CSN 3M Mindset Monday. But until then, be well.